study to show thyself approved unto God, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. The Beast Kingdom Study, Daniel chapter 7 and Revelation chapter 13. It is only when you study a matter that you can fully glean all the data, all the information that is available to the listener. This may seem axiomatic, a self-evident truth, an unquestionable truth, but how many people take the time to study, to fully study a matter, looking at every facet of the topic? The key to understanding the beast kingdom specified in Revelation chapter 13 verses 1 and 2 lies with Daniel chapter 7 verses 1 to 8. And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power, and his seat, and great authority. Before we go on to read the verses in Daniel chapter 7 from verse 1 to verse 8, let me just point out that the fourth beast in verses 7 and 8 is not the same beast that we see in Revelation chapter 13, nor is it the same beast that we see in Revelation chapter 12, which are the 6th and 5th beasts respectively. And we know this because Daniel chapter 7 verse 20 says this: and of the 10 horns that were in his head. It should be noted that it is head singular, not heads plural. This can only mean that the fourth beast is not the same beast that we see in Revelation chapter 13, because it has 7 heads. The second reason the fourth beast is not the beast seen in Revelation is that it has a total of 11 horns, whereas the latter 2 each have a total of 10 horns. Quoting Daniel chapter 7 in regard to the fourth beast, and it had 10 horns. I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn. Unquote. This was the latter part of verse 7 and the beginning of verse 8. To work out who the lion is in Revelation chapter 13, we must first work out who the lion is in Daniel chapter 7. Daniel chapter 7 verses 1 to 4. In the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and visions of his head upon his bed. Then he wrote the dream and told the sum of the matters. Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the 4 winds of the heaven strove upon the great sea, and 4 great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. The first was like a lion, and had eagle's wings. I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth, and made to stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. This is what the prophet Jeremiah has to say about the heart. Jeremiah chapter 17 verse 9. The heart is deceitful above all things, and desperately wicked. Who can know it? Now I am telling you with great authority that the eagle is the United States of America, and the lion was and is the British Empire, known now as the United Kingdom. The royal crest for the United Kingdom has a lion standing like a man, and the Great Seal of the United States has an eagle on it with very prominent outstretched wings. The Great Seal was first used publicly in 1782, just 6 years after the United States declared independence from the British Empire. It was on the 4th of July, 1776, that the eagle's wings were plucked from the lion. The lion and the eagle's wings first came together on the 14th of May, 1607, when the first permanent settlement in the Americas was founded by the British Empire in Jamestown, Virginia. Let us turn our attention to the second beast. Daniel chapter 7, verse 5. And behold, another beast, a second like to a bear, and it raised up itself on one side, and it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it. And they said thus unto it, Arise, devour much flesh. So we are looking for a world superpower that is represented by a bear. The first cultural reference for this comes from the Shakespearean tragedy known as Macbeth, thought first to have been performed in 1606. Act 3, Scene 4, Macbeth says the following: What man dare I dare? Approach thou like the rugged Russian bear, the armed rhinoceros, or the Hyrcan tiger. Take any shape but that, and my firm nerves shall never tremble. Hence, horrible shadow, unreal mockery, hence. In 2001, the phrase became part of the title of John Muir's book, Beware the Rugged Russian Bear. This political cartoon from 1878 shows a Russian bear, British lion, and the Afghan Emir Sher Ali. This political cartoon from 1904 portrays a house of cards about to be knocked over by a clumsy Russian bear. This cartoon from 1911 shows a British lion and a Russian bear, the latter of which is sitting on top of a cat, depicting Persia. This cartoon was made in Japan around the time of the First World War, and also depicts Russia as a bear. This giant flag was shown at a soccer match in 2007 with a Russian bear and reads in Russian, Go ahead, Russia. Here is a t-shirt with the Shakespearean catchphrase, Rugged Russian Bear. Here is a 200 ruble Russian coin with a bear and cubs shown on the left. Here is the coat of arms of the Russian city Novgorod, shown with 2 bears adjacent each other. This cartoon depicts the American Uncle Sam on a seesaw with the Russian bear tilted over the world. There are many other examples of bears being used to depict Russia, as well as Russian violence and Russian aggression. Let us move on to the third beast. Daniel chapter 7, verse 6. After this I beheld, and lo, another, like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. The beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. With the first and second beast, the animals represented 3 different countries, namely Britain, the USA, and Russia. Now we have a 4-headed leopard, which makes things much more complex. In addition to that, it has 4 wings. The heads represent countries, so the beast in its entirety represents an ideology or a dominion, in this case Islam, and specifically Sunni Islam. The wings help accelerate the Dominion's ability to spread itself to other regions around the world. Let me show you how I came to this conclusion. We are going to begin with Kazakhstan, then Afghanistan, then Turkey, then Pakistan, and finally the area that Islamic State, or ISIS, attempted to control. The former capital of Kazakhstan is Almaty, and the new capital is Astana, which is now known as Nur-Sultan, being named after the former president who resigned in March this year. Located in Almaty is this statue of a winged leopard. This winged leopard can also be seen on this billboard promoting their up-and-coming vision for 2030. The statue can also be seen on this 5,000 tenge note. Located in Nur-Sultan is another statue of a winged leopard that can be seen on this 200 tenge note. Other references to leopards can be seen on this 10,000 tenge note and the following coins, namely the 1 ounce silver coin from the National Bank of Kazakhstan, the 500 tenge coin, and the 5,000 tenge coin. According to the Wikipedia, as much as 70.2% of the Kazakh population is Islamic, and the majority of that percentage is Sunni Islam. So we have identified one pair of wings and one head coming from Kazakhstan. Let us now move on to Afghanistan. First of all is this coin from 1978 with a leopard shown on the right. Secondly, here are 3 different stamps from Afghanistan depicting leopards. The name Afghanis can be seen on the left on each of the stamps. And thirdly, according to the Wikipedia's entry, List of National Animals, the snow leopard is Afghanistan's only national animal. According to the Wikipedia, 99% of the Afghan population is Islamic, and of that 99%, 84.7% is Sunni Islam. We have now identified another head of the leopard. Let us move on to Turkey, where we have a 1 lira and 20 lira coin, both with Anatolian leopards shown on the left. Once again, according to the Wikipedia, 98% of the Turkish population is Islamic, and of that 98%, 80.5% is Sunni Islam. We have now identified another head of the leopard. Let us now move on to Pakistan, where we have this single stamp of a leopard. Secondly, according to the Wikipedia's entry named List of National Animals, the snow leopard is one of 6 animals listed for Pakistan. Once again, according to the Wikipedia, 96% of the Pakistani population is Islamic, and of that 96%, between 85 and 95% are Sunni Islam. We have now identified 4 heads on the leopard and 1 set of wings, with 1 more set of wings to be identified. Now let us move on to Islamic State in Syria and Iraq, otherwise known as ISIS, or officially known as Islamic State, or simply IS. Without doubt, this group have accelerated the presence of Islam in the world, with numerous provinces and territorial claims from Libya to Somalia and as far away as Indonesia. The connection to wings comes through the Egyptian goddess Isis, who is personified as a woman with wings. Islamic State is 100% Sunni Islam. Using ordinal English gematria, where a equals 1 with increments of 1 up to z, which equals 26, the following equals 666. The leopard, IS, Kazakhstan, Afghanistan, Turkey, Pakistan, Sunni Islam. We now have the second pair of wings, and the beast from Daniel chapter 7 verse 6 is complete. It should be noted that using standard English dramatra or numerical dramatra, where the assignment can be seen by this symbol, and is such that A equals 1 with increments of 1 until double digits are reached, and then increments of 10 until triple digits are reached, and then increments of 100 until the letter Z, which equals 800, that the word wings equals 666. Also using numerical dramatra, the words crescent moon equals 666. The interesting thing about that is that the Turkish and Pakistani flags both have a crescent moon on them. Whilst talking about flags, it should also be noted that the Kazakhstan flag has a pair of wings on it. It should also be noted that Kazakhstan's capital city, Nur-Sultan, is a very opulent, lavish and planned city built with billions of petrodollars, as can be seen in this small handful of images with golden twin towers, presidential palace and Bayturek Tower that has a gilded handprint of Nursultan Nazarbayev's right hand, all of which has an Illuminati feel to it. The use of a leopard to represent Islam is very telling when we think about how terrorism has been conducted by this group or dominion, and where attackers will stop at nothing to kill their prey, and when we also think about how vicious leopard attacks can be. Let us now move on to the fourth beast seen in Daniel chapter 7. Daniel chapter 7 verses 7 and 8. After this I saw in the night visions, and behold, a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly. And it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it. And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. And behold, in his horn were eyes like the eyes of a man, and a mouth speaking great things. So far, we have matched 4 world superpowers to 3 beasts, the first of which was split into 2, and there is only one superpower that has not yet been matched. It is therefore highly likely, given the previous matches, that the fourth beast would also be a world superpower, and that beast represents, for the most part, China. I say for the most part because of the 11 horns, and the Antichrist being the little horn and not necessarily Chinese. It would therefore follow that the other 10 horns are not necessarily Chinese, especially when considering the iron teeth and brass nails, which represent Roman and Greek ideology respectively. Daniel chapter 7 verses 19 to 24. Then I would know the truth of the fourth beast, which was diverse from all the others, exceeding dreadful, whose teeth were of iron, and his nails of brass, which devoured, brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with his feet. And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes, and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows. I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints, and prevailed against them, until the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High, and the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. Thus he said, The fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down, and break it in pieces. And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall rise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings. The fourth beast, described in Daniel, is diverse from the others. Daniel is able to describe the first 3 beasts with simple, familiar terms, such as lion, eagle, bear, and leopard. However, the fourth beast is not something he can describe with a familiar earthly term. The fourth beast looks terrible, dreadful, and exceedingly strong. The head of the fourth beast is later seen in the book of Revelation, as I shall prove via the number of heads we now have, totaling 7. As we have already seen with the previous 3 beasts, there is a connection between the beasts and their respective cultural symbols, and so too with the fourth beast. The Chinese love and adore the dragon, which I believe is what the fourth beast essentially looks like. Here are some political cartoons that portray China as a dragon or as a beast. This cartoon has the Russian bear, British lion, and the United States eagle, along with a Chinese dragon. This cartoon is from 1900 and shows a Chinese dragon climbing over the Great Wall. Here we have many countries trying to hold down the great Chinese beast, whose head is seen in the background. Here we have a Chinese dragon and Russian bear beside their veto power at the United Nations, with the Syrian flag being flown on top. Once again, a Russian bear and Chinese dragon, this time having a bloodbath with an Iranian official. A Chinese dragon with Russian bear and respective flags shown on each. Here we have a Chinese dragon blazoned with the Chinese flag, having just flattened a Japanese sumo wrestler, and the United States Uncle Sam to be next. Uncle Sam reading a fortune cookie with a Chinese dragon behind. Chinese dragon portrayed as infringing an American's privacy whilst on an Apple computer. An American eagle and Chinese dragon. The light of the Pentagon shining on a Chinese dragon with nuclear missile warheads as horns along its back. A Chinese dragon used as a facade to hide Obama and the Dalai Lama's relationship. An enraged Chinese dragon hearing about the meeting between Obama and the Dalai Lama. A Chinese dragon hungry for American jobs. A Russian bear and Chinese dragon. A Chinese dragon attacking the currencies of the US and the European Union. A Chinese dragon looking at which currency to save. A Chinese dragon portrayed as an anti-satellite missile launcher with Uncle Sam. A Chinese dragon lighting on fire a sign about the former British colony Hong Kong. A Chinese dragon protecting a basket of rare earth minerals. A Chinese dragon and American eagle going head to head. Obama and Uncle Sam being entwined with a Chinese dragon. Eagle and dragon in attack positions. Chinese dragon snaring with his foot Uncle Sam into the center of a painted target. Here is a quote from the Wikipedia entry for Chinese dragon. Sometimes Chinese people use the term descendants of the dragon as a sign of ethnic identity, as part of a trend started in the 1970s when different Asian nationalities were looking for animal symbols as representations. For example, the wolf may be used by the Mongols, as it is considered to be their legendary ancestor. We have now identified all 4 of the beasts seen in Daniel chapter 7. Let us now examine the beast seen in Revelation chapter 12, and compare it to the beast seen in Revelation chapter 13. Revelation chapter 12 verses 3 and 4. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his heads. And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. So the prominent feature seen in the 5th beast in Revelation chapter 12 is that it is a dragon, whereas the prominent feature seen in the 6th beast in Revelation chapter 13 is that it is a leopard. Because of this fact that the 5th beast looks like a dragon and the 6th beast looks like a leopard, and because they have the same number of heads and the same number of horns, being 7 and 10 respectively, they do differ with the number of crowns. The 5th beast has 7 crowns, whereas the 6th beast has 10 crowns. All of this infers that there is a transition from the 5th beast to the 6th beast, and that they are the same beast. What this also infers is that there is going to be a power shift from the dragon to the leopard. As we have found out, the dragon represents China and the leopard represents Islam. This means that there is going to be a shift from Chinese-dominated world power to Islamic-dominated world power. The leopard lies in wait. It is an animal that is incredibly sneaky. It is an animal that surprises its victims. It is an animal that sneaks up and catches its prey unaware. As I mentioned earlier, there are 7 heads on the 4 beasts seen in Daniel chapter 7. We have the head of the lion, the head of the bear, the 4 heads of the leopard, and the head of the 4th beast. This is 7 heads in total. I believe this infers that the 5th and 6th beasts seen in Revelation chapter 12 and chapter 13 respectively have the identical heads transferred from the beasts seen in Daniel chapter 7. So the beast seen in Revelation chapter 13 is predominantly Islamic. It has the body of a leopard, it has the 4 heads of the leopard seen in Daniel chapter 7, the 3rd beast, and it has the wings of the 3rd beast. All these features have been retained. The predominant feature of the beast seen in Revelation chapter 13 is that it is a leopard and that it is Islamic. The other feature we are told in Revelation chapter 13 about the beast is that it has the feet of a bear. I believe this is talking about the might of the Russian army. I believe this is talking about Russian troops, boots on the ground. It should also be noted that it has brass nails. The 4th beast had brass nails, and these nails have been transferred to the 5th and 6th beast seen in Revelation chapter 12 and chapter 13. The brass nails represent Greece. If we go back to the statue in Daniel chapter 2, where we have a golden head, a silver chest, a brass torso, iron legs, and feet of iron and clay. If we go back to that statue, we know that Greece is represented by the brass. Now, just while I'm on this point, we know that Daniel chapter 8 tells us that Greece and Media-Persia are not the leopard and are not the bear, because it explicitly tells us that Media-Persia is a ram and that Greece is a goat. Now, these are farm animals. It has nothing to do with the wild beasts we see in Daniel chapter 7. The metal elements that we see in Daniel chapter 2 are represented in the beast through the iron teeth and the brass nails. So if we go back to the graphic of the beast and its feet, it has feet like a bear, and those feet represent Russia because it is bear's feet, and the bear is Russia. And we also have brass nails, which represents Greece. So we have Russia as the bear's feet and the brass nails as Greece. Given the proximity of these two elements, it infers that there is a relationship, and indeed there is a relationship between Russia and Greece. And here we have a photograph of Alexis Tsipras, who is the Prime Minister of Greece, and Vladimir Putin, who is the President of Russia. And they are both brother nations. So the relationship holds true in reality as well as in the typology. So in regards to the beast scene in Revelation chapter 13, I have covered the leopard and the bear elements. That just leaves the lion's mouth. The lion's mouth also has great iron teeth as a remnant of the fourth beast. These two elements go together well because iron represents Rome and the lion represents Britain. As it turns out, Britain was occupied by the Romans between 43 and 410 AD, and the region was known as Britannia. If you would like a copy of this chart, a link is available in the description box below to a PDF that will automatically download to your computer. Thank you for doing this study with me about the Beast Kingdom. God bless. Bye.